G'day, Jack Daniel from BASF Technical Services. I'm standing here this morning in our technical site at Longanong, which is about 10 kilometres north of Horsham in the Victorian Wimmera. The site, as which you see, was sown on the 5th of May this year into quite good conditions. It was actually quite damp, so we're 5 months in. I'm standing in front of our Voraxor demonstration plots. So Voraxor is the combination of two group G molecules, one that you will be familiar with, which is the active in sharpen, and the other group G molecule in the formulation is Voraxor. So for those of you that have used sharpen, you'll be familiar with the qualities of that herbicide in terms of its rapid knockdown and burn down of broadleaf weeds. The addition of Voraxor gives us the benefit of a knockdown with some grass efficacy, but it's also delivering us very good residual on broadleaf weeds. And the label, which has 42 weeds on it, has 16 weeds which we're claiming up to 12 weeks residual activity. We also have the ability to improve the performance of glyphosate and paraquat when it's used in combination with Voraxor on annual ryegrass. But when you look at the label, you'll notice that there are three usage rates. There is a 100 ml knockdown burn down rate. There is a 200 ml rate which we'd use from immediately at sowing but out to 7 days prior to sowing. And then there is a 240 ml rate, which we're saying that you would use out to 3 weeks from sowing. And the extra 40 mils is just to ensure that when you come to the sowing operation, that we're still achieving good residual activity from the herbicide that's going to take you out to that 10 to 12 week range. So what does that mean in terms of if you're a grower and you're using Voraxor in front of your wheat or your barley? What it means is if you're dealing with a high population of broadleaf weeds, particularly wild radish, it's a good example, that extra residual we get quite often replaces that early post-emergent herbicide application that we'd be doing at 2 to 3 leaf when we're dealing with high pressure with that weed. And that just doesn't it just doesn't apply to wild radish. It can also apply to sow thistle, prickly lettuce, cape weed. We have a wide range of weeds where we have good efficacy, so we're getting very good knockdown, burn down with that residual activity. So in this plot behind me, you can see we have a mixture of weeds. There is ryegrass in the plot. We have wild oats, which is obviously quite visual. They're above the canopy. We also have wild vetch in the plot. We have Indian hedge mustard. We have sow thistle. We have hard-headed thistle in this site, which for anyone who's had to deal with that weed knows what a difficult weed that is to manage, given it is also rhizobious. So in this site, we've used Voraxor standalone. And we've also used Voraxor in combination with some commonly used pre-emergent herbicides. All the Voraxor rates you see behind me are at the 200 ml rate, which, as I said earlier, is the rate that we use from 7 days to immediately before sowing. The plots we have seen some very good activity on broadleaf weeds with Voraxor, and we haven't applied any other post-emergent broadleaf chemistry. The only treatment that we've done here is at growth stage 37, we applied a litre of Opera for disease management, which at this stage is holding up very well, given that we do have significant stripe rust pressure and we have seen quite a bit of Septoria triticide this year. I just want to talk about the treatment that I'm standing in front of now, which is a combination of Voraxor at 200 mils plus our new pre-emergent herbicide for use in wheat, which is Luxamax. We've got good control of annual ryegrass, suppression of wild oats and suppression of brome grass. Luxamax is a completely new mode of action. We have not used this mode of action in Australia previously. Australia is the first country to have access to Luxamax Group T. If we strategically place a herbicide like Luxamax in our rotations, we're going to keep our other modes of action alive. So it's a very good resistance management tool. We're getting the benefit of achieving residual control of our broadleaf weed populations, 10 to 12 weeks, and also good control and residual of annual ryegrass that Luxamax is delivering 10 to 12 weeks.